Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Rebel Crone. My name's Elisa, and I'm going to be your host and guide today. Got a very, very special topic for us. It all has to do with aging with purpose, grace, and power. And today we're going to focus on grace. The previous video, we looked at purpose. And we could say that purpose is our why, the why of everything that we do. And for me, purpose is intrinsically connected to above, connected to our higher self, connected to spirit. It is the reason why we do anything. Because after all, don't we want to be authentically ourselves? And where else can we define ourselves except in the highest and best version that's available? We may not be embodying it all. I'm not really sure who is and is still walking this planet. That's one of the challenges, isn't it? Is being true to who we are made to be. And that's our purpose. For me, that has been the abiding reason behind my life has been, well, who am I and why am I here? You know, my divine purpose, my divine authenticity. So grace for me is the how it's done. When I say the word grace, most people will think of world-class athletes, beautiful athletes, and when they're the peak of their sport, we think of ice skaters twirling on the ice, defying gravity. They're so beautiful, ballerinas, and every little hand motion, every little thing they do is just an expression of this incredible grace and this incredible power. I look at gymnasts, runners, oh my gosh, runners. I love watching runners. They make it look so easy. Their legs are just loping along and they're flying as fast as the wind. And it's like, oh my gosh, I just get out there. I'm going to do that just like that. That looks so easy. And isn't that one of the hallmarks of somebody in the peak of what they've accomplished is they make it look easy? Well, we all know that it didn't just come naturally. Maybe some of the basic skills came naturally, but these athletes, they put in a tremendous amount of training, physical training, mental training, and I would dare say spirit training too, because they have this incredible passion and focus for what they do single-mindedly. You know, often their lives are very unbalanced for a time when they're in all their training because that's the one thing that drives them forward. Their minds, oh my gosh, there's such a discipline of being able to focus and overcome, you know, feelings of being tired, feelings of, oh my gosh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I flubbed on that one, and getting back up and doing it again and again and trying to reach that state of ultimate expression, of like perfect expression. And so that's a driving motivation. And of course, their bodies. I mean, they put their bodies through a lot. You know, the ballerina standing on one little tippy toe with another leg completely in the air, twirling around. They make it look like you could just get up and do it. Well, good luck. I can in my imagination, but not in reality. Never been able to. But then again, that hasn't been my purpose. That has not been my focus. So I want to share with you today that for me, aging is very similar to training like an athlete. Aging gracefully, that is. And we are all capable of it. So I guess that separates us, you know, out from athletes, is that we're all capable of aging gracefully. And just like athletes, it takes, you know, the work of spirit, the work of our mind and our body specifically aligned in a certain way. And I'm going to go into that a little bit more today, because above all else is I really want to help women, especially coming into their older years, coming into their years of possibly becoming a crone, a wise one, an elder. You know, what is that going to take? How can they best prepare themselves? Because a lot of this is the training happens throughout our lives, and especially as we come near the age of transition. But once we have moved into our elder years, once our menses has stopped and all these body changes have happened, it's not too late. In fact, our training really takes on a different kind of different requirements in some way, but a different importance. Time is ticking, right? We all have a lifespan. And so we have to like really, hey, take a break a minute, cut there. We all have a stamp on our lives, unfortunately, but fortunately, because it gives us a little impetus to move things along. So let's move things along. Let's move things along about stepping into a place of grace so that we can really imbue our lives with a sense of fulfillment and also potentially help a lot of other people and the world as a whole. So great, aging gracefully. First, we start with spirit. It's really important to be connected and to be connected to spirit. And that's not just finding our purpose and our why, but it's tapping into the energy of the universe. And I think across the board, you ask anybody in any kind of religion, spirituality, people have had near-death experiences, people have out-of-body experiences, anybody that's been dancing on the edges, they'll all talk about the incredible love that they've experienced. Beautiful, beautiful container of love is what holds us. No matter what, you can't escape love. Love is the energy, the energetic source of the universe. It is here no matter what. No matter if you feel it or not, you're contained in love. And even if we're not on this planet, when we do the big transition over, you know what? We can't escape it. We're still contained in love. Except I venture to say we'll be able to be much more aware of love in that other state as opposed to here. There's a lot of things that get in the way. So the first step is understanding and accepting that we are from love, we're contained in love. Love is available to us 24/7. We have to open up and allow it in. A lot of religions will talk about, by the grace of God, and a experience and a transcendence of life is through grace, and that it's something that happens to us. Well, yes, it is something that happens to us, but I don't think it just happens arbitrarily. I think it happens because we allow it. It's a free will universe, correct? So we have to open up the channels of our being, open up our hearts and declare it and ask for it. I am from love and I want to feel more love in my life. Allow love to come in. And that's a really amazing experience when you allow love in. And maybe it's the time when we first hold our little baby or newborn baby and we feel this overriding, just an incredible sense of just love, how much love we're actually capable of for another human being. Whether it's when we get married and we look at our spouse and we're like, I couldn't love something or anything, a person anymore. This is an incredible experience. There's different hallmarks through our life where we have these transcendental moments of experience love. Well, this is available to us all the time. Now, I can't say that I'm living in it all the time. I forget. I'm in this world. I sometimes forget. But part of my maturation process has been to remember more and more often, and have less times in between where I forget that. And, our life really requires, I feel, living at a higher level and a level of grace really requires a lot of remembering. So how do we remember? And this takes us to the mind training aspect of living in grace, embracing grace, and growing old gracefully. So for me, it comes down to a single principle. And this principle has lots of applications and lots of offshoots from it. But for me in my life, the most powerful lesson that I learned was right action for right action's sake. That means doing the right thing no matter what, especially no matter how it feels. If it's the right thing to do, you do it. And you have to understand, right thing, what is right thing is being bitter, being angry, being judgmental, being, vengeful, passive aggressive, another way of getting revenge to somebody. I'll show you. You won't know it, but I'm going to stick it to you. All these things. I don't think there's a single person out there that could honestly say that's a higher level expression or that embodies the spirit of love, because it just doesn't. So all these tendencies, these strong human tendencies that somebody hurt me, I'm going to get back at them. I'm going to hold a grudge. This judging out there, oh, look at her, she's blah, blah, blah. So that makes me, I'm not that, oh, I feel better about myself. Especially younger women fall victim to that. They're especially catty. I know growing up, as I preferred to be around men, young men more, because I preferred, it was so much easier to be with them. It wasn't caught up in, oh, how you look, what you say, what you do. You just accept it. There's a wonderful way about the masculine spirit with that. So young ladies, please let that go. That's the biggest favor you can do for yourself, is let other people be, let other people do themselves. You do you, take care of you, your inner life. And then as you grow old, I tell you, the aging process becomes much more easy. And to my peers out there, I think we have a unique perspective that the older we've gotten, the less we care about what anybody else is doing. There's this beautiful sense of inner focus that comes with age that's like, you know what? I'm going to do me. I'm just going to do me. And I really have grown in that sense of who that is and accepting of me as myself. The people-pleasing hormones that have been raging through our life, all the wanting to do the right thing in society's eyes, we're blessed with that just flowing away. And we can speed up that process too. And there's also some areas, I dare say, that we struggle with. Maybe it's past grievances, somebody that hurt us really bad in the past. It could have been a family member, a close member of the family, a friend, group of people that we feel badly done by. There's a lot of reasons to hold a grudge, to be feeling victimized by something or other. I mean, that's like the easy thing to do, I hate to say, because it feels so natural, and we feel substantiated in holding that. But that is not ever going to get you to a place of grace. Grace is a very selfish thing. Grace is, I'm going to take care of myself, and holding on to those feelings don't work for me. They don't work. They just keep you in a low vibratory place. In fact, it keeps you down vibrating to whoever, whatever it was that victimized you. So you're staying on that same plane of experience because you're reacting to it, right? Our reactions wed us into whatever that is that we're reacting to. It's all a vibrational thing, right? That's vibrating whatever, that person, place, or thing that did us wrong, that is a certain vibration. We respond to it. We acknowledge the reality of it and its power over us. So how do we get beyond that? We got to step off that court. We can't play that game anymore. We have to raise ourselves to a higher level. And one of the right action for right action's sake is forgiveness. I call it radical forgiveness. Is you have to forgive no matter what. It doesn't matter how it feels at the time. Because trust me, when you do the right thing for the right thing's sake, like forgive, that your feelings will turn around and you'll experience a whole other level of feelings that maybe you've never experienced before. And resting in forgiveness, man, that is like swimming in a big pool of love. That is just a powerful, incredible experience. So truly forgiving is in our highest and best interest. We can't rise up and make space and connect to the creative energies coming in, the energies of love, unless we are willing to forgive others. Being critical of others, what is that saying? That's like putting judgment on that person. And it's only reflective of the judgment we have about ourselves. If I'm concerned about my appearance or my weight or my whatever, my hair, my, you name it, I will look at other people and go, oh my God, look at how they're worse off. They're blah, blah, blah. And then I can feel a little better about myself. Well, should we judge anything by the appearance of things? How do I know what that person's working through? How do I know the quality of that person's heart? What do you think they look at in the spiritual realms when they're observing humanity? They look at the quality of our heart. That's what we're judged by. I shouldn't say judge. That's what we judge ourselves by. That's the measure of spiritual evolution would be the quality of our heart. And when we're judging other people, we're really trying to cast them down. We're sending out, low vibration energy to them for where we're vibrating in that sense. And that's just trying to bring that person down. Well, I don't know about you, but I don't need any support in bringing myself down. I need support in raising myself up. I want to be around sisters. I want to be around friends that see the best in me and bring out the best in me. I often tell my partner, when I'm in a funk, I get frustrated. That's kind of one of my default things. If something's like not working the way I want it to, it's not easy, like technology, figuring technology, honestly, can be a huge source of frustration for me. I get in that place, I'm kind of losing my cool. And instead of having him come up and going, oh man, just chill out, what the heck, blah, 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 just coming up and giving me a big hug and supporting the angel within me. It's okay, it's going to be okay. A reminder, it's like, oh my God, he's feeding like what's right with me. And what's wrong with me or what's not working, the lower vibration of frustration and impatience and all that. Oh, I've just been empowered to help rise above that. Well, let's help each other. You see somebody struggling, ask them what you can do to help, or just share a big smile to them. If appropriate, ask if you can give them a hug and give them a hug. All these little acts of kindness are incredibly potent. Very, very potent, because what they're stating is what's right with you is the point, what's wrong with you is beside the point. What's wrong with you is a lack of, right? And a lack of is nothing. What's right with you is really something, and we can only build off of something, right? You can't build a foundation of a building off of nothing. You need a foundation. Excuse me, did I say that right? You can't build a building off a foundation that's not there. You have to have a solid foundation. What's right with us is the foundation of our being. And this is all coming back to the right action for right action's sake. And there's so many applications of it besides just not judging and forgiving, showing kindness. There's so many things in life where we might not feel it. In response, somebody says something mean to you. In response, you want to, back. Don't do it. Don't fall for it. Is that the right way to be? If somebody steals something from you, do you want to be punitive? Do you want to, maybe like, okay, in some contexts, my partner's a lawyer. In some contexts, yes, that would be appropriate. But I'm talking about like the little infractions of somebody does something you feel like diminishes you and you want to diminish them back. Let's just not go for those things. Take the higher stance, do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Your feelings will adjust. Throughout my life, there's been some really big things that I've had to practice. Radical forgiveness. Where anybody I could talk to would say, no, you're right, they were complete assholes. They were, in fact, I had, some spiritual supportive leader couple that stole a ton of money from me, a ton of money, my hard-earned money that I did through my own business. And you know what? It really brought me down for a long time until I realized that I was giving my power away and I had to forgive them. Nothing in my body, not a single cell in my body wanted to forgive, because what they did I thought was downright evil. That was the lack of love there completely. It was so self-serving, so blah, 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 blah. But you know what? I forgave them. It was one of the hardest forgivenesses I had to do that point. My family, my parents, they didn't get it right. I've had to forgive them. We all can understand there's lots to forgive in this world, and there's just a lot to forgive is a big one. So I don't want to focus on too many. There's more things about getting our mind in the right place. But it's always, for me, is that in your heart of hearts, the right thing to do. Just do it no matter what. And what happens is then there's this container of our being starts to grow. This discipline. That's the whole point, is it's creating discipline by doing that. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. And pretty soon someone can say something or do something or You can watch somebody acting like a complete jerk in whatever group you are, out in a bar or out whatever. And it just doesn't, you don't look at it in a judgmental way. You see like, oh, there's something going on with that person. They're struggling. Now I look around and I see the angel in people. I see like somebody sitting there and they may not physically be beautiful in the slightest bit, but I look at them and I see nothing but beauty of this spirit that's incarnate. Wow, kudos to you. You're surviving. You're making, well, at least trying to make your way through this world, and it's not an easy thing. Hats off to you. I want to make it easier for you. I'm going to send loving vibration to you. I'm going to help lift you up instead of cast you down. These are spiritual muscles. Having grace takes muscles. Just like that beautiful ice skater zipping around, and they may look so, delicate, but they are strong as can be. Oh my God, that is strength. We develop our spiritual strength by doing the right thing, and the container grows to contain more and more grace can be bequeathed to us. We have more room for allowing it in. I hope that makes sense to you. It's really, it's been one of the most important things in my life that has helped me to get to the place where I am right now. And at 63 years old, I feel like I'm a young old person. I have claimed my crown, as a crone. I have claimed it. No one's going to give it to me. I've claimed it for myself, but I also act in accordance to it, no matter what. So just like trained athletes, we have to use discipline. We have to use focus. We have to have a deep passion for why we're doing this. Radical forgiveness takes a deep passion for the truth. It takes a deep passion to be self-centered and to allow, love into our lives, because I feel better. I feel better the more full I am with love, the more grace I can express, and the more life is worth living. And that's the final thing here, right, is the expression into the world, through in our bodies is the expression of grace. Have you ever been around somebody, an older person, where you just step into their presence and you're like, wow, I just want to be around. I'm just drawn to them. And they may be most likely they're very quiet. They only share stories about themselves when in context. And usually it's surprising. You're like, wow, they've done that? Oh my gosh, what accomplishments. They don't boast about it. They don't brag about it. They're not positioning themselves and, oh, look at me, and I've got friends in high places, and I own this or I own that. No, the graceful older one, the graceful elder, you don't know any of those things about them necessarily, because it's not important. They don't need to talk about it, because that's not what they're rooted in. They're rooted in a higher definition of themselves, a higher understanding of what life is. Life is love. Coming in the presence of an elder, you want to know more about them. You're, oh my gosh, I want to be around them. I want them, I love they just smile at me. They show me kindness. It's like they see me. It's like they know me. I feel like I know them. And isn't that the truth? We do all know each other in the spiritual realm. There is no stranger among us. We are all connected to the one source. We're all part of that one source. And that's what we feel when we're in the presence of an elder. And it's a beautiful thing. And I tell you what, an elder, a female elder, a crone, you just, being in that place, it's like it's the ease road now. It's not, we've done our hard work, our heavy lifting through life, and now we've come into a place where it's much easier because we can just be, our physical bodies. Let's talk about actual physical vehicles, because athletes, right, they have to, along with all this hard discipline and training, they have to learn how to, or not learn how, maybe learn how, but they have to eat right. They have to take care of what they're doing. They have to get enough sleep. They really tend their physical vessels. We have to tend our physical vessels. It becomes more and more important the older we get. I'm like, now I finally, this past few months, have gotten into a stretching routine with my partner, because he's really focused on it. He's doing it. I'm like, okay, I'm jumping on board. I feel so much better. Is mobility and stretching. It's so important. I do weight stuff, weight bearing exercises. Weight training is so important as we get older. I don't go in a gym anymore. I mean, I spent a huge part of my adulthood, especially my young adulthood, in gyms, pumping iron, lifting weights. I was really obsessed with it. Now you couldn't get me to go into a gym if you paid me. Well, you have to pay me a lot of money to do it. I'm so not interested. I do my things at home. There's plenty of apps available. Because I have a foundation, I don't have to do that much, but to maintain and to just to keep a sense of mobility, fluidity, strength in place. Ladies, we have to take care of these bodies. I have to love these bodies, and it's never too late. And if you need help, get a coach. If you want to go to a gym and hire somebody to help you out, oh my gosh, it's a fabulous way of doing it. Athletes all have coaches. They don't train themselves to get to the place where they are. We need help sometimes. There's a lot of wonderful apps and different equipment that can, have coaches built right in. Well, do it. It's never too late to love yourself and eat accordingly what works for you. I'm always a big fan of moderation. I like my pizza. I like to have, my sweets here and there, but all of it's very much in moderation. And if it's not working for me, then I don't do it, most of the time. We do still have some areas we haven't quite mastered yet, but we're working on it. I'm a work in process here. Anyway, so it's just that bodily, and then clothing yourself, clothing the physical form. Athletes go out and either they have like a team uniform, or when it's in the real expressive things, they have something that clothes the expression of the dance they're doing, or the gymnast and the routine they're performing. Same thing, let's look at how we're clothing our body. Let's clothe it with respect and love that we have for ourselves. I was raised by an Italian mother and Northern Italian, and Northern Italians present themselves. When they walk out the door into the world, they present themselves. I never, growing up, oh my gosh, we had to always, my mother, you had to dress. She would be appalled at the kind of not just the dumbing down, but just the numbing down of people's physical presentation. People go to nice restaurants and they still have shorts and t-shirts on, and they're dressed super casual. And, that's one of the things I don't get, anyways. I don't understand why somebody wouldn't present themselves and honor the people around them, honor the restaurant, the servers and the chefs and all of that, and by presenting themselves in a thoughtful way. Anyway, so we can go into that. We'll go into that more and more, but that's the tail end of it, is that physical expression out into the world. The primary thing with grace is the spirit of it, is the allowing for grace to come in, making room for love to fill us up. And in our minds, is to be able to hone the gifts, the container, which grace can come in through, which love can flow through. It can't flow through bitterness or grievances and judgment, all those things. There's no room for it. That's something else. Let's get in the channel of grace, especially as we're older. Especially as we've grown older, it's really, really important that we harness that energy in a beautiful way and in a powerful way. I mean, that's the channel which power is going to flow through. That'll be our next presentation, is to talk about power and how we can help change the world as older women and soon to be older women. This is our time. Right now is our time, but we have got to get ourselves in control. We have to be disciplined. We have to train. The training is an interior game, right? It's the interior training. Shamans, that whole thing of the hero's journey, the shaman's journey, it's all an inner journey. It's not about the outward stuff. We get the inner stuff in place, and then we can allow the outward expression of beauty and grace and all that we do and all that we encompass. That's a wonderful thing. Anyways, I hope that today's been inspiring to you. I would love to hear your comments, so please leave a comment, please like and subscribe to this channel. hit notifications if you want to be notified when the next release is. Eventually I'll get in a pattern of when they're coming out, but right now to start with, they're just going to be sort of here and there. Soon I'll start doing interviews with other women so we can be inspired by other people's stories. Right now I just want to lay the foundation about, who I am and why I'm doing this, a foundation of, the things I've lived by and the things that I've learned, my lessons, my lessons learned, my wisdom won, and this beautiful life that I get to be a part of still. Yay. Anyway, so thank you all so much for being with me here today. And I love you dearly. Peace be with you. And remember, always peace in, my sweet sisters and friends. Bye-bye.